Elizabeth Milos, and I'm a union member from UPTE, University of Professional and Technical Employees. I'm speaking on my own behalf, but I'm also a representative from my union on the San Francisco Labor Council, and have been announcing this wonderful movement at the Labor Council many times. I also participated in the April 29th strike and have been supporting ILWU for for a long time. But I thought I might read something, but first maybe I should just get right to the point. The reason I'm here is because I'm also a member of the listener station board of KPFA. And people don't know what KPFA is. I mean, I doubt people don't know what KPFA is, but many people don't know that it's part of a network, Pacifica network, which is 5 stations nationwide, one in Berkeley, Houston, LA, Washington, DC, and New York. And I'm gonna let people know why I'm here and why I decided to become a member of the LSB. I've known KPFA for a long time, and it's always at that time when 1979, when I first arrived to the Bay Area, it was out in the streets. KPFA News was out in the streets with all of us. They would be at demonstrations, they were at this community events such as this. We'd have people coming up to us and interviewing people, interviewing students and teachers and the community. Now, what we're having in the news department on KPFA seems to be NPR light. Unfortunately, there's a lot of things happening at that level, and I need to let you guys know that we all need to become members of KPFA. It's $25 a year, but more importantly, you have to figure out what's going on there. Right now, the majority group that's in the listener station board right now, and for quite some time now, has been trying to put Pacifica Foundation into receivership by doing one lawsuit after another, by trying to impose a bylaws amendment that would have taken away your rights as listeners, that would have made it a self-appointed board, that would have made it undemocratic. All the while, they're trying to claim that they're the ones that are fighting for democracy, that they're the ones that are progressive. We have to be careful with these wolves in sheep's clothing, these so-called progressives that on the one hand talk one thing, but on the other they go and file a petition to deny the renewal of a broadcasting license of a sister station like they did against WBAI in New York City. WBAI is a station that has a demographic listenership of mostly people of color and working people. And they've been attacking WBAI. The group here, the majority that's on the LSB right now, is trying to close down WBAI like they tried to do it in October 2019, where they literally sent thugs down and closed the station for a month. Of course, there's financial difficulties, but you don't do that by cannibalizing your sister stations. You don't do that by destroying Pacifica Network, which is the last remaining progressive terrestrial radio network in the country. The last remaining one. The last remaining one after Clinton administration passed the Telecommunications Act of 1996, which ended up allowing for these media conglomerates to come over. So if you want all of this to be out and for people to know what's happening, you have to support Pacifica Foundation. And you have to support KPFA, but support KPFA as being part of Pacifica Foundation. And you have to become a member. It's $25 a year. But more importantly, you have to run for listener station board representative. We need more young people there. We need people like you, activists that are out in the streets and will demand of KPFA to go back to its radical roots, to go back to its independent media roots. So I would like to invite all of you to join us in this struggle. I ran on the Rescue Pacifica slate, and I'm going to run again, but I want all of you to join us, to be part be part and to run for listener station board or to be part of the community advisory board, to pay attention, because community radio, independent media, and the last remaining terrestrial, progressive, and radical terrestrial radio network in the country is in danger because of this group of people that's inside the LSB right now, who are under the auspices of Democratic Party, trying to take control over this network, this incredible network, which started 70 years ago. I'm going to read a very short poem. One of the things that inspired me to run for KPFA LSB was because when they tried to take over and close down the station of WBAI in 2019, I went to the listener station board. It was October 19th, 2019, the day after the major uprising that was happening on the ground in Chile, my mother's country, my country, that went through 40 damn years, that has gone through 40 damn years of neoliberalism. Neoliberalism, which means privatization, where even the water was privatized and is privatized, where now people are fighting against that. So there's a thread to all this. There's a thread of what's happening in Chile, what's happening here. There's a thread to that. Chile was the test tube. So this poem I wrote in 1986, right before going back to Chile and living there for 5 years, trying to fight against the military dictatorship of Pinochet, which was installed there by this country. This poem is called To James T. And I wrote it in 1986. It was while I was sitting in a restaurant in 16th and Mission and 16th and Valencia in 86, and saw this elderly man, and he walked in and he read the menu and he walked out. The look of hate glowed from his eyes when I asked him if he needed to eat. His lips pressed tight, holding back, his black skin sprouting gray hairs faster than time, while walking slowly but surely out the restaurant door. He gripped his street broom ever so tightly and said not one word with every stroke, pushing his thoughts off the sidewalk, or me if I stood in his way. I walked away with a feeling of not having done something right, yet not knowing how to correct the wrong that I thought I didn't do. His bright orange Department of Public Works jacket passed by, so I walked out, leaving my cold food on the plate. This man's legs had taken him far. I said, I'm sorry, knowing yet not knowing what for. His eyes sweetened sadly. It's not you, baby, it's this goddamn country. He told me of his 40 years of music in Europe and around the world. He told me of the New York jazz clubs with Miles Davis and his jamming Alabama town. His good violin, he said, wasn't hot, but he would be practicing again tonight anyways. He looked in my eyes and proudly announced that he was the last of the living violin jazz soloists, and mentioned names that because of my age and my ignorance, I didn't recognize. I'm not supposed to be doing this, he said, and bending down with a pail, he cried, look at me, I'm a slave. He took off one of his gloves, to wipe his tears. People just ain't human in the USA. A brown paper bag sneaked past his broom while every stroke helped push the words from his mouth. It would never cross my mind, he said, to destroy someone like this country's doing to me. He lifted his head and holding his broom with both hands as if in prayer, he said, but I'm leaving this country. As soon as I get me some money, I'm leaving this country, I'm telling you. There just ain't no humanity in the USA. Woo. That was to James T. And that's what, if we allow this privatization to go on, we can't allow that. And I feel so proud to be here, to see all the young people, the way they're all the presenters, man. It was awesome.